little chair twerk.
If you get hot, take that off.
I will.
Chair twerk. We aren't even in a chair.
Oh, my little floor
That's
twerk.
my little concrete twerk. Twerk, twerk, twerk. I'm just kidding.
Born to be wild.
Born to be wild. Hello.
And welcome to this week's episode of Bleep That Out.
Bleep that out. We just filmed our last week's episode sitting here. And if you are new here, hello, welcome. Bleep that shit the fuck out. We signed an office space. So this is my podcast, my individual I Think I'm Human Too will be filmed here. Savannah's and I's Bleep That Out will be here. So we're very excited, but this is the real life. All we got is a rug and our mics and our morals and values.
But she cute.
But she cute.
But she is cute.
She's actually more comfortable than I thought it would be.
She's got a little cushion to her.
Yeah. Last week we spilled all the deets about New York Fashion Week because we just went there last weekend. That was why we didn't have an episode 2 weeks ago. But we're back. We got a ton of questions, and normally I don't like doing questions. I love these where it's just like us chit-chatting, living our best life, kind of talking about whatever the hell we want to talk about. But since I feel like we've got so many questions, I feel like we can throw in some if we want to answer any random questions. So Savannah and I talked about how we met recently, but that was one of the questions that I kept seeing come in is like, how did we meet? But we've already said that. Yeah, we said that. I want to say episode 1 or 2.
Yeah, and I feel like we talked about it in your I Think I'm Human Too podcast too at some point.
So if you want to hear those fun stories, we would love for you to go back and listen and just kind of like hear the history, all that fun stuff.
But we really haven't known each other that long. I think that's what surprises people the most is that it's only been like 2 years. Yeah,
when people asked us that, they were like, in New York, they were like, how long have you guys been friends? And we were like, like 2 years. Really only like a full year where we've been like die hard at each other's sides pretty much every fucking day.
Like we FaceTime as soon as we leave type shit.
Yes. I've never, oh my God. I didn't say this in last week's episode. I'm spilling the fucking beans. I do not care. I'm bleeping that shit out. You're not bleeping that shit out. I have never in my life seen Savannah as crabby as she was when we were leaving New York. I literally saw her sister this week and I was like, your sister terrified me. And she was like, no, I've been telling you guys, Savannah has a dark side. And I was like, you terrified me. I literally, me, myself, and I, Catherine Ebbs, went quiet because I was like, oh my God.
I get one of two ways when I'm crabby. I either shut the fuck down completely or I am spicy and I'm a spitfire.
So we went out the night before we had to leave New York, but we had to get picked up in our Uber at 3:30 in the morning. Okay. It's 3:40. So we get downstairs. This little old man's like putting us in his car.
We didn't get home till 1 though. Like we didn't get back from like the event till 1.
And Savannah didn't sleep. Thanks. I completely skipped that part. Bleep that out. Savannah didn't sleep at all because you're not a napper. And I was like, I don't even care if it's an hour. I need a fucking hour. Savannah stayed up. She was like editing stuff on her phone at 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. This little old guy is like trying to put us in the Uber, but she had to sit in the far back and he's like shoving bags in. She's like, excuse me, can I sit down, please? I was like,
bro, where do you want me to sit? I'm like, I don't know.
Dying. I will say that's my biggest complaint about Ubers right now. It'll be like up to 4, right? And this is one thing I wish, Uber, if you're listening to this, take this feedback.
Literally.
I wish there was a setting where you could tell how many people you have because you'll choose a car up to 4 people. 4 people should fit. Then they won't let you sit in the goddamn front seat. And I'm like, I don't get that. What the hell is the point? Like, then they get like mad that you have 4 people.
Yeah. And then they're like, we have to clean out the seat and throw a big fit. And it's like, well, you said 4 people. So.
Right. I wish we could like say that. And then if you're not letting the front seat be open, well then fuck you. You don't get to take my money. Like,
then you can't say you have 4 seats available.
Or even like we'll do the XL. Going to the airport, there was 4 of us with bags. I've come to learn after I asked an Uber driver, they can't see the destination of where they're going when they pick it up.
Yeah, it's like a safety thing.
Which I get. But I'm like, well, I typed in the airport. I wish it could say like, do you have luggage? Maybe that is a feature.
I did hear though that with Ubers, like you have to have a specific like feature that allows you to go to the airport. Some Ubers can't. So you have to like pass a separate screening to be an airport driver.
We picked the 6 people. We got an XL so our luggage would fit. We barely fit in there.
It was like a minivan, like a small minivan.
And like shoving bags in. Then Raphael had to sit up front. The guy was again mad. Really? And I'm like, this should fit 6 people. So this should fit 4 with luggage easy.
Yeah. So easy.
Or when my mom, Raphael, and I Ubered to the airport, This guy picked us up in a Honda Accord and was like mad when we came out with luggage. And I'm like, I get it. Like you can't see where we're going. So you didn't know like the airport, that we're going to the airport and we're going to have luggage. But I'm sitting here like, I just wish that was a feature. I don't understand it.
They should have an airport feature, because especially going to some of the places, like if you're traveling, you don't know how many suitcases someone's going to have anyway.
Yeah.
But like for the trip we were just on, we needed a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Like a lot of options. So we had more suitcases than normal. But like,
and we brought all the podcast stuff, even though we didn't film. So that was on me. But
A for effort though. I mean, it was so busy. There was no way. Like we really did try. We tried so hard to find a time to film it, but we were go, like nonstop.
Or even in Europe when I was there with my mom and like my family in the beginning of the year, we had 6 people. So we were ordering Uber X's everywhere. And I get that for a different example of like, if it's a max of 6 people and you have luggage, like I can understand that. But we were ordering 6s, and there was one time it was like when like European cars are different. It was like a condensed minivan. So like, I'm not exaggerating. My mom and I are in the back seat like this. And like, it was literally like sitting on a stool. And I'm sitting here like, if we were to get into a car accident right now, we would lose our life. Like genuinely, we would die.
So crazy.
And I hate that, because I'm like, this is so awkward to me. I don't know. I want Uber to kind of like figure that out, because, and the other thing, these drivers are fucking wild.
Yeah.
That was where you caught attitude on Sunday on Monday when we were driving home. I was like so on board. I was so pissed. This guy is racing through the streets of New York at 4 a.m. And I was like, what the hell? Then he goes to miss the exit. So instead he goes to like, he's missing the exit. He goes to cut across. There's a car coming. So he doesn't. So he stays in the far right lane, then wants to go to put it in reverse.
On the highway.
On the massive highway in New York. I'm like, I then ended up not doing it because I was like, are we going to die right now? So then he adds, mind you, we're running late, not running late, but like she likes to be at the airport 2 hours early. I am not that. I'm like comfortable at about an hour early. You drop your bags, you go through security. You're almost always guaranteed to make your flight right on time with still time to get coffee, depending on the time you're flying and the airport you're flying out of. So we had plenty of time, but like when that happened, her anxiety I could feel was giving me more anxiety. Then the added 10 minutes to our trip. And I'm sitting here like, motherfucker, it's 3:30 in the morning. There's nobody on the roads. What are you paying attention to?
And then you got charged more. It's like, that was your fuck up, bro. Like,
yeah, $40 more. That was $170 Uber. I was like, what?
Yeah.
To go 25 minutes.
No, when I'm tired and crabby, I will catch attitude at pretty much anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Which like, that's so me, but seeing you get it, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be quiet. And it was funny because at first I kept fucking with you because I was like, there's no way she's like genuinely this mad right now because I've never seen you like that. Yeah. And then you kept saying, you're like, she went and got us Starbucks because she went through the TSA line, and I have TSA too, but my mom doesn't, and Raphael doesn't have it updated in the system yet. He just got it. So I was like, whatever, I'll go with them. We get to the other line and she's still going. She's like, you have that Starbucks because of me. I was about to be like, okay, like, you want my $7? Like, I don't give a fuck about this Starbucks. She kept saying that. She's like, that Starbucks is because of me. I was like,
it's because you made a TikTok where you're like, it's because you were literally making a TikTok on the plane. I will not forget this. And you were like, when the one friend got sleep and then you have the crabby friend. I'm like, bitch, you have that Starbucks because of me.
Oh, and then I called her crabby. God forbid you call fucking Savannah crabby. No, but the one thing is you either shut down or get really crabby. I either get really irritable and like pissed, or I get delusional funny. And mine was delusional funny that morning.
You were.
I think if you were normal, I would have probably been crabby. So honestly, like, go ahead, take the reins. Because I was just like, like, I was just having a time of my life. I was like, I thought it was just funny that you were so upset. And then I'm just sitting here like,
I took one for the team. What can I say?
Yeah, thank you. Much
got you, girl. Got you, girl.
I love that. I thought it was really funny though. I mean, I don't care. And then 2 days later, she texted me and she's like, is everything okay? And I was like, yeah, I've just been scared of you for the last few days. Like, I just wanted you to catch up on your sleep. And then she was like, I'm so sorry for being crabby. I was like, I promise it's okay. Like, of anybody that's always crabby, it's me. So like, it's okay.
I feel like you don't get crabby easily. And then like, if you actually like get along with the people, like you're always respectful when you're crabby. You know what I mean? You might be short, but that's about it.
My thing is I'm like a perfectionist, and that's when I start to get irritated and crabby is when it's like not, this can sound really spoiled, but when it's not going my way, quote unquote, that's where I get uptight because I'm like, I have a vision in my head and I don't want to say perfection. Perfection's not real. Yeah. But I also am like, if I'm at a fancy restaurant, I'm getting shitty service. I have an expectation.
As you should if
which
you're
is
going to be paying.
my own problem. Like if like your own expectations are your own issues. But like I expect when you show up to work, you're a kind person. I expect when you're a customer service face forward person, you're going to have patience, right? When you're a customer and you're getting hit with some bullshit, I'm like, no. Like
I'm getting charged more for it.
God, where were we when, what happened? Oh, like Vegas. When we went out to Vegas, the hotel we ended up staying at actually works with influencers and comps their stays for free. And these influencers make it look like the most beautiful fucking hotel. Oh, yeah. I went there. I did reach out, or my manager reached out to work with them. And it ended up being like we went too close to the time frame and contracts couldn't get written up that fast. So I ended up paying because I was like, oh, I trust what the other influencers are saying. This looks like a nice hotel. I go, there's dried piss on the seats. The bed was dirty. You could tell that there was a bachelor party in the second room that I got for my family. There was a bachelorette party and there was balloons and confetti everywhere. I'm like, did you guys even clean the fucking rooms? So then I'm pissed because I'm like, that irks me to my core, where it's like, imagine if I worked with these people, they probably would have had a beautiful stay for me. Then I was going to go online, use my own voice, tell my own following, being like, hey, this hotel's great. They're going to go spend their hard-earned money. And they're going to be like, Catherine fucking lied to us.
The standards are so different. It's so hard.
It's so hard. And I'm like, at the end of the day, we are all human. I might be an influencer, content creator. Like that might be my title as a job. But I'm like, I still want a nice stay for the consumer that's going to buy. Like, I think that's so tacky. That's where I get pissed.
Well, that's how influence marketing works, is like people are trusting you based off of your experience. But if you're going to make your experience different than the average consumer, there's already a discrepancy between the two.
I will not work with a brand. I've done this before when I'm about to sign with a brand. Normally what they'll do is like they'll send you product. And I highly suggest this for anybody that's looking to get into this industry. They'll send you product and it'll come all wrapped nice. It'll have like confetti. It'll have tissue paper. It'll
little
be
bow,
wrapped all perfectly, literally. If I'm about to sign with them, I will buy something from them. And I will get it at my door as a consumer to see what I'm about to market. Because I'm like, I could love your product. There has been so many times. There was a brand specifically, I'm not going to say the name, but they sent a PR package, perfect, golden, wonderful. I bought it because I actually used the product. I bought it. It came broken at my front door. It was literally thrown in a box. There was mind you, it's glass bottles. It was thrown in a box that didn't even fit. It wasn't like a box that was like a small size box. It was literally a massive box that had like this much stuff in it. Like,
oh no.
It was like banging around. The glass bottles broke. The liquid was everywhere. The bottle was broken. I was like, fuck no. Like, that's so tacky. If someone's going to spend their hard-earned money on this and that's what's showing up to their door and my face and my name said I loved this product, they're going to be like, what do you love about it? Like,
but also like good for you for bringing awareness to that, because most people don't know that. I didn't know that before I met you. And like we were talking about PR and all that. And I was like, that actually makes a huge difference, because the average consumer, it's sad, they're treated differently than the people that are marketing it.
Yeah. And they're the ones buying it. You're sending it to me for free.
Right.
So I'm sitting here like, yes, of course. I'm like, the whole point is you send it to me for free. I'm going to love the product, because there's no guarantee. Like when you get PR, you don't have to post. Like, you're not required. It's basically, they want you to test out the product. And if you love it, you're going to share it, because that's just how it goes. You're like, oh, I love that Adidas hoodie. Like, here's the link. Or if I get it, I'm going to be like, oh, I didn't like this. I just won't ever post it. There's no harm, no foul. Or you could be like, I hated this Adidas hoodie. It depends on what you want to talk about on your own platform. But when the consumer goes to buy it, especially like if I'm doing a collaboration where my name is on the box, or it's got my name times whatever, or with whatever, I'm very anal about the packaging. I'm like, that's my number one thing, is like, I want every single person to feel like an influencer when they open it.
And that's why, like with our lip oils, like we took a lot of time to make everyone have that experience. Because when you pay for something, you want an experience. You want the product, sure, but like it's also part of the experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you're supporting someone else's name and face and brand, you want to be part of that brand. That's the whole thing. Like, I think a lot of creators don't have the business mindset. They're just creating the content, which I love. Get your bag. But at the end of the day, like, you got to think from a business mindset of like, I want our consumer to not just be a consumer. I want them to feel like they're part of the brand. That's why I'm huge into polls on Instagram. I'm huge into being like, what do you want to see? Or if I ever release merch, when I did in the past, I was like, what colors do you guys want? Like, I could pick my 5 favorite colors, but then it's like, people are like, well, I wanted this color.
Right.
So I always pick like what the consumer picks the most, because
there's a reason why we're all here. Like, that's why you're able to create merch. That's why you're able to do like all of these things, and like lip oils, all that stuff is because of all of you guys. So we want to make sure that you're getting the experience too, because you're part of us.
Right. So, and anytime I like sell something or I do a collaboration, I always like sign. I love going and like signing handwritten notes and being like, thank you for supporting me. I love you so much. I wish I could just kiss you through this postcard.
Right. Put a little lip gloss on it.
So yeah, so lip glosses are coming soon. We've been having such an issue. Can I spill the details? Can I just bleep that out?
We can bleep that out and we can spill the details, because
we just won't use the brand name that we're going through. I won't say their name.
Yeah, that's fine. Honestly, we can bleep that out.
So here's our backstory and here's the explanation of it. Savannah has always done not always, but during COVID, you kind of explained this in a previous episode. She loved doing lip oils. She's huge into natural. Obviously, your profession is cosmetics.
Yeah.
And so she wanted products that were great for you, but also natural.
Good quality ingredients. I know that they're not going to be bad for you later. Like, honestly, anytime you get into makeup or skincare, there's always something that helps the shelf life. There's only so much you can do. But you can try your best to make it as clean as possible.
Yeah.
But
so Savannah launched some on her own, and every time you did them, they sold out. Like, you didn't do massive batches, but she then started going through a brand that was producing, again, that followed her suit of, they use natural, organic. It's a very well-known brand in the cosmetic industry.
Yeah. Women owned. I love that.
Love it. They're very kind. So then you wanted to do an espresso martini launch. My dad had just passed, and she wanted to do it in honor of my dad. So we ended up figuring everything out. We came up with the perfect formula. Savannah really did all of that. I was just like grieving and just like, yep, that's great. That tweak this, like, here we go.
One, what's crazy is I never tried an espresso martini before I met you. And so that was kind
really?
of, no, that was like,
I never knew that.
Yeah. So that was kind of like our drink. So originally, before your dad had passed, I wanted to do espresso martini, but then once he passed, I was like, this is even more personal now.
Yeah.
So it's like, it kind of worked out.
So we ended up we went it through the company that she went through. We did like the whole logistics. We figured out the perfect formula, and we had a shimmer. It's like a minor shimmer.
Yeah.
It's not like glittery. It's
like
shimmer.
a shine, like good high shine.
We got in our testers, loved it. We solidified it. We ended up buying the first 500. We get them all in. Mind you, they come with a safety seal. And not only that, but the seal that we chose was a flannel. So it's completely wrapped around the entire bottle, and you weren't able to see the actual product in it. But again, we thought it was exactly what we signed off on. Our bad. That's something that we learned of, like, we need to test each and every batch, no matter what. That was a learning lesson on our part. So consumers were buying. We sold out the first 300.
Yeah, I think it was 250 or 300. Yeah.
Because day one, we launched the first half because we didn't have the second half in
No,
yet.
because they did 2 separate shipments. So I think it was 250.
Okay.
I think it was
sold
250.
out within hours.
Literally, I think 12 hours. I was up all night packaging those because you were in Europe when I launched them.
Super well, right? People are starting to get the product, and they're like, hey, this bottle's broken. And then we started seeing comments of like, is this glitter? Like,
yeah.
And we're like, what?
Like, it feels like gritty on my lips. I'm like, what? I'm like, gritty?
Right. Gritty was not the word. So I was like, okay. So I'm still in Europe, and Savannah's like, okay, I'm going to bust one open. Mind you, we thought it was just the bottles breaking. Yeah. So she starts reshipping to the people that are like, hey, my bottle broke. It was just like the kind of like when you pull out the applicator, like the top of the bottle would come off.
The product was too thick.
That's what they said. I think it was a jank bottle, my opinion.
It wasn't the same bottle as the tester bottles we found out later.
Yes. Mind you, okay, so at this point, we just think it's a broken bottle. We're like, okay, whatever. We think that the product is too thick, and that's what's getting the suction to kind of come off of the top of the actual bottle when the applicator was pulled out. So we're in Europe. Savannah's dealing with this all on the back end. I get home, then we start getting the comments of like, it feels gritty on my lips. Yep. And we're like, what the fuck?
It's
like, that's
settling
so weird. So immediately I'm like, do not release the next launch. We'll figure this out, because again, we launched 250. We had the second batch. Savannah started sending out probably 50 of them to people to replace. Mind you, that's all our costs. Like, we're losing out on the price of the bottle
and
that
I
we
felt
already.
so bad that I sent like makeup bags to some, and I sent like extra stuff because I'm like, I would hate that as a consumer. Like, I felt so guilty, even though it was nothing that I did. I felt so bad.
So time moves forward. I'm like, okay, let's set a meeting with the people, right? Because even if like it's filled too large, we need to figure that out. But then I'm like, okay, give me one of these. So we open it up. It's fucking full glitter.
Like chunks of glitter.
Chunks of glitter. Then I'm sitting there looking at the bottle because I'm like, okay, well, the bottle is broken. Like that was one of our issues. I'm looking at the bottle. I'm like, this isn't even the same bottle that we originally purchased.
Like the applicator was completely different.
So then they were like, oh yeah, well, when we tested, like we noticed there was a difference, but we didn't know it was that bad. And we're like, so we've been going back and forth. We ended up picking a new packaging. So it's no longer in an applicator bottle. It'll be in a different, like a squeeze tube. And it ended up being like, we hashed it out with them. They were wonderful, all that fun stuff. So they are replacing the 500 that we had originally purchased from them.
Yep.
The only thing we're kind of working out now is like, well, we shipped hundreds of dollars worth and then some because we had to purchase more or we had to take more. So we're still down. I mean,
we're still under, which is fine. I'm just happy that we have the right product and we can get people the right product. But now it's that like waiting game of, okay, well, how are we going to mitigate and fix this?
And not only that, but like for our future, I'm like, do we want to continue to work with them? It sucks because I'm like, again, women owned, smaller company. We love that. But I think my trust is kind of gone.
Oh, for sure.
And we've been working on setting up a call for weeks
I was
now.
going to say the lack of communication lately has really started to bug me because I'm like, this wasn't our fault to begin with. This was your mistake. And if I make a mistake, I am
immediate to fix it.
Oh, and I go above and beyond, hence me sending makeup bags, sending extra stuff because I felt so bad. And when people were like, I had someone who is a follower who has bought lip oils every single time, loved every single one. She's great. She asked for a refund on all of 4 that she purchased at the Espresso Martini. And I was like, absolutely, I'll give you a refund. Keep the product. I don't care.
Oh, that's what we were doing too.
Because I'm like, like the fact that was what our name is on when that's not something that we would have ever put our name on is just, it is very frustrating for sure. And I'm excited for you guys to actually try these new ones because they're fantastic. We haven't even talked about a launch date for those, but we have to figure that out. That's like in the works too.
Yes, that's going to be coming. And I know we've like kind of hinted at that, but really our main goal right now with our 500 that we're sitting on is getting them out to the people who have already purchased so they actually get the proper product.
Because this is what it should have been the first time.
Yes. So we have to replace to the people who purchased. If you were the ones that purchased, we thank you so dearly.
And to everyone who said that there was a problem, thank you. Like, yes, that is something that's hard to do and reach out to like a company and say, hey, there's a problem with your product. That was huge because otherwise we would have never found that mistake. And then we would have kept ordering probably. And it would have just been the same, not quality product.
And we learned that we do have to have a tester out of each batch that we do. She gets one, I get one. Who cares if we have a shit ton of product? We just want to make sure that the product is good because our future for that, I mean, you and I have said like how cool would it be to sell at a national level of like not just us but like being a retailer. I think that would be so cool, but I have to trust the people that are manufacturing. I don't want 10,000 to go to an Ulta Beauty and it's all shit. Like it
has to be consistent. And I think that was the hardest part is it wasn't consistent. And then because they are a smaller company, they make smaller batches. So it's harder to be consistent because you're not making bigger batches, but at the same time it has to be so that the consumer is getting the product that they pay for because the price that we put on those lip oils was expensive. Like it was expensive. And so for you guys to invest that in us and us not deliver,
it's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. And we are so sorry, but the product that's coming, guys, I promise you, this is what it should have been. And it's fucking fantastic.
It's fantastic. We literally brought it with us everywhere in New York. We were kind of debating on like bringing it out for girls to try, like, here, try this out. Like, cause we want the honest feedback and, we're just excited for it. So we'll probably do that in the future in the next couple of weeks. We do need to sit down and kind of hash out some details there. But again, we are very sorry, but we are very thankful for, again, the feedback and also the understanding. Nobody was really rude. And even the people that wanted a refund, we totally get it. I would too. What did we mark it at? $28?
28 or 30. Like it was higher.
Yeah. So, and we get it, but like, lip oil products on the market now are between what, 20 and 50?
I think Dior's is like 34 to like 40, depending on if there's color or not.
Right.
And it's hard when you're working with natural ingredients because they're more expensive to purchase. So our
Yes.
cost is higher. Like,
but that was the main selling point, is that it's a natural product versus you're putting Dior on your lip. I don't know Dior's ingredients. So
I don't
maybe,
either.
I was going to say, maybe not, let me not say anything, but versus another competitor that might have just a shit ton of chemicals that are drying out your lips. That was the one thing that you're very big in, of like reading each and every ingredient and all the products that she's putting on her face. And there's a lot of lip oils out there that actually have a drying agent in them. But the whole point in that is they want you to use more. So like your lips get dry, you put more on. Well, then you run out faster. You got to buy faster. But you're like, that's just grimy to me. Like, that's not a good business model. We want it to be natural. We don't want to dry your lips out more. That's not the point in this. We want your bottle to last as long as your fucking bottle can last, and come back because you want to purchase more, not because you want the fad of having the Dior. I don't know.
and you ran out too quick because you're reapplying it every 2 seconds.
That's just not funsies.
No, it's not fun. I mean, it's fun to have your lips all shiny though. So
My favorite part, and I want to do a TikTok on this stuff works. It's like got a brown hint, but when you put it on, you can wear it with really any lip color or lip oil. Lip liner. Sorry. I'm like,
it blends really nicely into any skin tone too. I've noticed it. I'm like, on different skin tones, it looks amazing because the brown that's in it is like not enough pigment, but it's like just enough.
It fits everybody. I love it. I love it so much. So I'm very excited to get it back out. I just don't, we're struggling with, like, we've got the 500, but do we go more? Do we do more past that? Do we go with this company again? Or do we try and buy out the formula? We're trying to figure out what we want to do, but we got to talk to them first because we want to give them a chance.
And we want to hear what you guys think. So I think getting out this batch will really help with your guys' feedback too, because that's what really helped us notice that there was a problem with the first batch. So once you guys try it and the people get replaced with the actual product they were supposed to get, I feel like then we're going to be able to hopefully have that discussion, because the product's fantastic and we have bigger goals for it for sure. And I love the meaning behind it because it's deep for me, it's deep for you, it's deep for all of you guys. And it smells fucking good.
It smells so good. And it's so cute. I love it so much. And the packaging is beautiful.
The packaging is super cute. We did change the packaging, so stay tuned for that.
Yes. More just muted, normal.
Yeah.
We got rid of the Billy flannel.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't see through that shit anyways. So yeah, that was kind of like a little update there. Nothing wild.
I know we've had so many questions on that, so I'm glad we highlighted that because it's been something that has been on the back of our mind for a while. But things take a lot of time, especially when the company you're working with is not in state, because it's hard to nail down different time zones, meeting times, and so on and so forth when you're working with a whole team of people.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm reading through some questions just to kind of keep us updated. I want to see if there's any like good ones. There's a lot of friend questions, which you and I did an episode on my podcast. It's literally titled Friendship Part 1 and 2, I think.
Yeah, we did have Part 1 and 2.
So a lot of these are answered already. Someone asked, is Bleep That Out going to get its own Instagram page eventually? Absolutely. Right now, we're just kind of trying to hone in on myself, at least. I can't speak for Savannah. I'm trying to grow Human 2 as known as an agency, kind of like when you think about Barstool. Barstool owns bunches of podcasts. But like, you know who Barstool is, and then you also have individual podcasts. Right now, I'm just trying to build my Human 2 page. And I want people to know the faces behind Human 2. I want to kind of tell the story. I want people to get to know Savannah versus starting a whole Bleep That Out page. Eventually, that is the goal. We're just trying to just really get our feet on the ground here and
have a solid foundation, I think, is the biggest thing.
Sometimes when you take too many bites of too many things, you fill up really fast and it's exhausting. It's a lot to keep up with. I think people think that this job is super easy, and I'm not saying by any means I'm a doctor or I'm out there building highways. Like, it is not a physically demanding job, but it is mentally, and it's constantly going 99 miles an hour because it's just life. Like, you post your life online, you don't get to turn it off. So the more that you take on Bleep That Out, we have to schedule to shoot. I got to fit in her schedule. She's got to fit in my schedule. I've got to shoot my film, like my podcast. I've got to keep up with Catherine Ebbs. I've got to keep up with the new podcaster that's coming on. I've got to keep up with going to events, lip oils, merch, my husband, like making sure that everybody is uplifted, but also
we all wear a lot of different hats. And when you're trying to do things, like, you can't force creativity. That's one thing that's like hard about this space, is you can't force creativity. You just kind of, it just happens. Like
Yeah.
it just flows with people that you're around. But I do think the solid foundation of being under Human 2 is also nice for me because this is a whole new world to me. Like podcasting is something I've thought about for a while, but it's new. Like I don't really know what I'm doing, and you've had your podcast out for a while, so I'm learning a lot just from that. But I do know that that page will be up and running
Eventually.
in no time.
In no time. And the more people that we get on Human 2's roster, that content will fill that page, and then they'll also be able to grow out their own social medias. So right now we're just living. Okay.
You're taking it a day at a fucking time.
Someone said men are trash. Tell us your worst men stories. Why is that kind of good?
That actually is fire, but honestly, I'd have to sit and think about that one.
Have you ever had like a shitty date?
Well, I went to a small private school, so
I forget. You've been with your high school boyfriend. She's not really fun when it comes to spilling the
Yeah.
nitty gritties on boys.
yeah, no, not really. I've only had like 4 boyfriends total in my whole life. 3 in high school before Coast, and then
Oh, so it's like those don't even really count.
no. And I was young, and because I went to a small private school, like the one guy I was dating first, his parent, like we only could go to each other's houses. We couldn't go out in public. We had to be like
Really?
always like supervised. And me.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
supervised.
I was gonna say I would go opposite because like I would rather my kid be out in public than like shacking up in someone kid's bedroom.
Right, but like we weren't allowed to even like in
Oh,
like
so-
common areas of the house, like living room, kitchen.
Really?
That was like, because when you go to a small private school, a lot
Yeah,
of like
no,
the
I get
mentality
it.
is like,
No sex.
yeah, not before marriage. And I'm like, well, how do you know what you like or don't like if you don't have sex before marriage? Bleep that out.
Leave that out. You gotta test the car. Like nobody does like you
Right?
test drive a vehicle. I posted. You remember a couple weeks ago when we were talking about this on our first few episodes? I was posting those clips on TikTok. I was getting eaten alive, being like, "Jesus doesn't love you," and I'm like,
He
"Well, I
loves
love
everyone.
Jesus.
He
Jesus
loves everyone.
forgives. My sins have been forgiven."
Exactly.
I don't get it.
I think that's the hard part about like faith in general. And I'm going to tread very carefully because I don't mean this to be offensive at all, but from my personal experience, I feel like a lot of times there's extremes, and
Yes.
that's the hardest part. Is not a lot of people live in that extreme mindset because they don't live, eat, and breathe it. That doesn't mean that you don't believe or that Jesus doesn't love you.
Yeah.
You're allowed to be human. We make mistakes. I think I'm human too, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that I feel like a lot of people are turned off by faith because they know the extreme, people.
Yeah, I agree 1000% because I don't want to sit here and say I'm not religious at all because I
Yeah.
definitely am. I think faith in my opinion and spirituality, like whatever you believe in, I think it's more about it's grounding your values and your morals. And that's the whole point in being a faithful person. That's the whole point in being a spiritual. Like you want a center compass of like, where do I stand? Right. And a lot of people do believe in that kind of stuff of like, I mean, I'm not like, I was never one of those girls that slept around like ever.
Yeah.
I've never had a one night stand. I've never in my entire life done that.
Me either.
But I will not sit here and say that I've only ever been with one person. Because I took it more seriously and it was more like I don't know. I think that I said this previously, like do what you and your God want you to do for your body and your life. And that's really all. Like when you force something on other people, one, they just don't want to be your friend. Like my family forces stuff and it's like our family is falling to shreds because that was like my favorite part about my dad is he didn't necessarily have to agree, but he would respect.
And that's how it should be. Like you shouldn't make people conform to your values to fit in your circle and your life.
Yeah.
Like,
and he would maybe talk shit behind scenes and like, that's totally fine. But like, he was at least like, he would sit down and he would try to understand. And then he would be proud and excited and respectful. Even if it wasn't his journey of life. And as soon as he left, it was almost, like as soon as he left the family, as soon as he passed, it was like suffocation came quickly and everyone is like gone. We all literally just ran away from the suffocation.
because he was that middle ground. He was that in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just think, and like he was a very, very religious person, and I loved that about him. I loved that he felt very grounded in his faith, and I loved that he loved his faith deeply. But I loved that he was respectful of other people. So that's always what I want for everybody.
And that's really how it should be. Like we shouldn't be fearful to speak our opinions as long as we're saying them respectfully. Like we should be able to have a conversation and I can believe one thing, you can believe the other.
Yeah.
But we should be able to hear each other out of why we believe what we believe and walk away from the conversation still friends and still sane at the end of it.
Sleep with who you want to sleep with. I mean, obviously I said this previously, do it safely. But also I think a lot of women, this is my interpretation, a lot of women feel with their heart and think with their heart.
Oh yeah.
And I think men think with their wieners.
Their wang.
Their wang. I call it a wang. I don't know why. I'm like, you get your wang out of my face.
I know, now I say it. I'm like, dang it.
Bleep that out. I'm just kidding. But I think that women listen to what they want to hear. Men, that's why men lie. And then men listen to what they like to look at. Yeah. That's why when women wear makeup. So
true.
We're all just liars here, okay?
Bleep that out.
Don't bleep that out. But with that, I just think it's just live your own life, do your own thing. All men suck, all women suck. Like we all have pros, we have cons, we're all flawed.
Well, and your journey is going to be different than anyone else's. And so whatever you feel is right for you, live your life true to you because you only have one life. So what do you want to do with that one life? And I always think too, like the difference between like men and women, the culture difference of a man sleeping around versus women sleeping around is completely different.
Oh yeah.
And so it's just sad how the culture also shapes how we internalize what we think of ourselves and other people. But you do what's right for you and your self-growth will happen based off of the decisions you make.
Yeah.
And obviously we're human. We're going to have one step back, 3 steps forward. That's just how life is.
That's just how life
in
goes.
Everything.
As for like shitty trash men stories, so my ex-boyfriend, because I've got nitty gritty stories with this motherfucker. I was dating him. I think I've told you this story.
Yeah.
I just hit my nose with this. Anyways, I dated him for quite some time and I actually found out he was cheating on me. I kind of had suspicions, but I didn't know for sure. Know. This man told me he only slept with 5 people in his lifetime. Okay, let's start there.
Red flag.
I go through his phone one day. I don't know where he was. Oh, I think he left it at home before he went to work. And I guess his password, I want to say, was like his birthday or some shit. Anyway, so I'm going through his phone and I was like, I didn't really find too much. I kind of found some text messages, but like it wasn't like enough to solidify. It was like, had so much fun with you last night. And I'm like, what does that mean though?
Like kind of elusive.
Yeah. So then I go through his notes app. Always go through the notes app, girls.
Yeah. And the hidden folder.
Yes. The notes app though, and the hidden folders. Yes. So I'm going through his notes app. Come to find out, this mother lover kept an entire list of all the girls he's ever slept with in order, had it marked at every 10. Mind you, he told me 5. I was like 100 something. Yeah. And there were people after me. Mind you, he kept it in order. We had never broken up.
Oh, so you were like, you've been cheating this whole time.
Yeah. Then I stayed with him for like another 2 years. And after like a year after that, he was going to try. And like, he was like, I'm addicted to sex. And I'm like, you wouldn't fucking say, man. And after that, it just kind of changes your sex life because you're like,
yeah,
ew. But I was at that young age where I really wanted it to work. I really liked him. It was more that I liked his family, actually. I felt very close to his family.
And you think people can change. Like there's always beg. In the back of the mind, you're like, I know you can change. I know that I can see more in you. But like, if they don't see it.
That's it. It's I had the thought of what he could be. And I kept asking him, please just try. Like, just try to not fucking sleep with other people. I was like begging this man to just love me. And I was like, that is so, like when I look back, I'm like, ew. But it's just life. You're at that young mindset and you're just like, I know who he used to be. But at that point, I think he was really trying to be somebody he wasn't to get me. And then when he got me, because, and I mean this in the kindest way, I was the better half. Like I was the top of the relationship. And so I think he lied to conform to who I was because he wanted me. And then when he got me, it was like shit hit the fan and he went back to who he was. Then he became very abusive because after that, once he got caught, I was just a raging fucking bitch. And I was like always blaming him. I was always like, what are you doing? Are you cheating? Like, cause you just don't get over it. And I stayed for a while.
Well, and then your relationships after too, you go in with less trust immediately because you're like, just went through this traumatic relationship.
Mm-hmm. So I started getting really petty. Then I turned 21. no, I think I was like 22 at this point. And I moved downtown. He moved with me. And then you could tell like he was constantly cheating. Like I just knew it. So I started going out with my girlfriends, having the best of times, like whatever, kind of flirting with guys, not really giving a shit, but like living with my ex-boyfriend. So like we weren't together, but we were like together. I don't know. It was very odd. And then it just got like really frayed from there. Like he kept, God, I have stories for days, you guys. It's really insane. I used to tell him on my TikTok all the time on my old page.
But then also your self-growth, like the thing is you had to go through that to get to here now.
I always say he taught me, because I've only had 3 full boyfriends in my whole life. My high school, him, and then now my husband. And he taught me so much that a lot of women have to go through 10, 20 guys for. And I'm thankful that I learned it all in one. I got the shittiest of the shittiest. Then it got abusive, like physically abusive. And that was really where my final straw was, because I was so mentally checked out. I just knew he was cheating. I didn't care. I was kind of living my life. I still to this day have never kissed, like Raphael and I had known each other for a while, and I was on the back end of my relationship with my ex-boyfriend, and Raphael and I ran into each other one night. And again, I was kind of single at this point, but I was living with, or the ex was still living in our apartment. And Raphael was like, can I kiss you? And I was like, no. Did I ever tell you this story?
No.
Because Raphael and I lived like 4 streets away from each other, and we didn't know that.
Crazy.
And so one night I was walking my dog, and he was driving past, because you remember he used to bounce. Yeah. He was driving past. I had just gotten home from the bar. I was walking Ebby in the park downtown, and Raphael drove past and like saw me and like stopped out, and he was like, mind you, we had kind of been like talking a little bit, but it was not like talking like a dating stage. It was more like just like catching up with each other. And I was like, oh, what are you doing down here? Blah, blah. And he asked me if he could kiss me. And I was like, no, like I still have like my buddy living in my apartment. And I never wanted to be known as the girl that was like living with a man, but like kissing another man. I think that's actually one of the main things that like when Raphael and I got together, he was like, oh, that's attractive about her, is that I will not cheat. Like it is not in my blood. Even with my ex being an ex while we were still living together, I still was like, no, I don't want anyone in my apartment knowing that a man lives with me and I'm out in the park kissing another dude. Like I will never be.
And that's
girl.
Like your moral ground, you know, which I agree with 100%. I would do the same thing. But how cute that he asked to kiss you. What a cute.
And then I was like, I literally looked at him. I was like, no.
You're like, no. Maybe tomorrow.
And then, then things got physical with my ex. And then I actually reached out to Raphael, fun fact, because I didn't know who else to call. I was like, do I call the cops? What do I do? I called Raphael and I was like, hey, this is what just happened. And he was like, yeah, go to the police station and file a report like immediately. And he was like, even if you don't press charges, at least file a report, because what if he does this to another woman in the future? And it was a very scary time. I went in there and I didn't end up filing a report at all. I was too scared. I was too timid. I felt bad about ruining his life. I was like, I can't ruin his life. Like, and,
that happens a lot.
Yeah. That's why Raphael says all the time he will never work with domestics abuse at all, victims at all.
The abuse cycle, this is something that I learned in school. The abuse cycle is like everything's so good, like you're on a high for a little bit, and then it gets bad, worse, and right as you're about to leave, they kick it into gear and it gets really, really good again. So it's really hard for people that are in that abuse cycle because their brain can't keep up with.
And you're constantly like, I'm ready for the good. Like I'm waiting for the good.
Right. Because they know it's coming.
He's good. He's great. Like he'll be better, you guys. It's fine. I've been there.
Yeah.
I feel like we've all been there. Maybe not all. And if you haven't, like you're blessed. So know that too, that like every relationship has problems. But just because your relationship has problems doesn't mean it's a bad one. But I do think that a lot of women don't use the word abuse. Yeah. That is abusive. That is narcissistic tendencies. If not, you are a narcissist. They know where, they know when you're pulling, and as soon as they pull you right back in. So it's just, it is what it is.
And don't believe in potential, because the person has to believe it themselves. Because if you say, I see this in you, if they don't see it, it's never going to happen.
And they don't want to be that.
No.
Like if I was like, Savannah, or even just like getting you to grow your social media, right? Like I see the potential you have if you were to just put in the work and get out of your own head, right? But just because I see that potential in you doesn't mean you're going to kick into gear right now.
Yeah.
And like even me saying, I see potential, like I see future, keep going. That doesn't mean that you're gonna, because that it's still
I'm gonna.
Right. I'm using an example, but it's like your own brain isn't going to just be like one day, yep, I'm ready. Like you have to want that. And I go back into my ex-boyfriend. I think he lied about who he was to get me. And it worked. Exactly. So then it was like, well, I had a vision of who he was, right? That's who he was. But I don't think that was ever who he was. I think that was a facade. And that's where I say all the time of like, don't be hung up on who you thought they were or who you think they could be. Anyways, our camera just died, so we're back.
We're back.
Bleep that section out. Yeah, so that was one of my, I could tell stories on that X for days. I actually think it would be really funny to do like a shit ton of story times with like, I want like another person, and I want to do this on I Think I'm Human Too. I want another person that has gone through really shitty, grimy stories, and I literally just want to get drunk and go back and forth with them. Like someone that's really dated some shit dudes.
Yeah.
And literally just go back and forth telling stories. I have stories for days on that man. It was really bad.
Well, men are all about the chase. So it's like once they get you, then they're like, okay, now I can flip off that switch. Like you said, you're like, that's who he was for that time.
There was one time I found some text messages and I was like, who is this? He was like, that's because he was like, good morning, beautiful. Listen to this response. I literally was like, who is this? And he was like, that's my ex-best friend that is now a trans woman. And I said, huh? And that's why he was texting her good morning, beautiful, because he wanted her to feel good.
Oh, he used that on transition. One of the 100 women, for sure.
I was like, what the fuck? Then there was a time that he was sleeping with his manager at his job. Yeah, it was bad. Anyways.
I'm glad you moved on from that one.
I know. I told Raphael literally just last night, because the show we're watching, there was cheating in it.
Mm-hmm.
There was cheating on the show. And I literally said to Raphael, I was like, I would die if you ever cheat on me. Like, I'm telling you right now, like, I'm not exaggerating. I do not know what I would do with myself if I was ever cheated on by Raphael. Like, ever. I would literally want to just die.
Because that's like your person, and to have your trust broken by someone you trust so much with like your life and your well-being, I mean, it hurts in ways that you don't know until you go through it. Mm-hmm. And you think about those people that have, and it's like, I feel for them, because I can't even imagine.
Mm-mm. Not only that, but like you can't see them doing that either.
Oh,
like,
you know.
If he were to do that, that would truly, like, if I were to ever find out Raphael was doing that shit,
you
I would
question
be like,
everything about him.
Exactly, because I'd be like, well, clearly I didn't know you, because even strangers, there's like, yeah, I could never see Raphael doing that.
Oh, no.
Do you remember when we were in Chicago? Oh my God, you guys, this story. Do you want to tell it?
You tell it. It's so much funnier when you tell it.
So we're in Chicago for our girlfriend's batch trip. I self-tanned before we went. Crucial part to the story. I self-tanned before we go.
Crucial part to the story.
We get to Chicago, and I'm peeing, and I'm like, my coochie juice smells kind of...
It stank.
It smells a little off. It wasn't like bad, but it had like an odor to it.
Yeah. You're like, something's not right down there.
It had an odor, and I was like, this is so weird, because I'm like, I don't know, like almost like a yeast infection, but it wasn't. I was very confused. Anyways, so I go out to Savannah. Obviously, I'm like, Dr. Savannah, what the fuck is going on? And she was like, well, could you be pregnant? And I was like, I don't know, maybe. And I was like, I think Raphael might be cheating on me. Like, there's no reason. And the only reason I know that is because I've had someone in my life that actually found out that their spouse was cheating on them by the smell of their coochie. And I was like, that's insane. Yeah. Because like the
pH.
Yeah, he was cheating and then coming home and having sex with her, and it was throwing off her pH balance, and it had never happened before. So she went into the doctor and was like, found out that he gave her something that was throwing her body off, and she ended up finding out there was a sad scandal. So that was where my brain went right away. I was like, it couldn't be nothing else other than like, he's cheating on me. I have not had this in years. Like, what the fuck's going on? Blah, blah, blah. So then Savannah's like, okay, well, let's just go rule out pregnancy. We literally go down to the CVS down the street from our hotel. All of us look ratchet as fuck. We're crossing the main street. And I was like, you guys, I kid you not, I cannot buy this pregnancy test, because if I'm pregnant right now, I don't know what I will do. We are not wanting a baby, but we don't do anything other than cycle tracking. So I'm like, okay. So we go in there. I was like, Savannah or Haley, you guys have to buy this test. Like, I cannot do it. I'm not touching it. I'm not putting my card in on it. Like, no juju here at all.
No bad juju.
We get back. It's negative. I'm like, oh, fuck. Okay, good.
But on the way to the CVS, there was a baby sock on the ground.
Pink, which Raphael and I have always said we really want a girl.
It was like...
It was weird.
It was weird.
It was weird. So then we get back to the hotel. I'm negative. I'm like, oh my fucking God. I was like, he's cheating on me. Then I'm sitting here like, randomly, you go, I have a question for you. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, when you self-tan,
do you put it down there?
And I was like on my bikini line? And she was like, yeah, like, do you do down there, or do you just like go along your bikini line? And I was like, no, I do like the full thing. And she was like, you dumb bitch. Like, those chemicals are not supposed to be down there. She's like, are you fucking like doing that with your coochie? And I'm like, no, 1000%. My my self tanner glove goes down there, and like, cause I like do the whole line or whatever, and then I put on these athletic shorts that have like built-in underwear. I think it just trapped it all up there. So
don't tan your coochie, guys. Just don't do it. Bleep that out.
You just a dumb bitch. Okay, we get it. Bleep that out. Yeah, I share way too much with the internet, but my husband was not cheating. I was not pregnant. I just
tanned her
to
coochie.
be tanned goddess,
naked and clothed at all times.
Yeah, I just didn't want like my vaginal area to just be pale.
I mean, I do get it. 100% I get it. But like, don't do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't self-tanned since, actually. Fun fact.
I actually like the color you have going on right now because you do have that. I feel like
I
from
that natural
Mexico,
summer glow.
I still have that like tan line.
I know, same.
Yeah. I'm not mad about it.
She in there somewhere. But yeah, good times, good times.
That was so fucking funny.
I know. When you said that, I was like, then, mind you, when she's asking me if I'm pregnant, she's like holding my stomach. She literally grabs a piece of my pudge and she was like, yeah, you could be up to 3 weeks.
Because we were trying to map out like
First of all, grab my fucking pudge again and tell me I'm pregnant. I would love to see you do that again. I was like, oh.
Wait, what?
So not only did she call me fat, but I got a stinky coochie.
So funny. That was a great fucking trip, honestly. Yeah. She's like, no, it was very dramatic for me.
Yeah. So since we did a batch trip there, we've always said if anyone in our group gets divorced, we're going to do a divorce party there. So I will not be free tanning for that. Don't worry.
Right. Actually, I do love Chicago, though. Chicago so fun.
Was fun. Mm-hmm. It'd be fun to do a live show down there one time and just go crazy for the weekend.
Ooh, that would be fun. Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah, we got some live shows kind of in the works. That's like our main idea right now is to kind of start maybe with Minnesota, get some sponsors. So if you guys know of any brands or companies that would love to be part of a live event with Bleep That Out Girls, I would not go live with I Think I'm Human Too yet. I really want to get comfortable, and you obviously are very helpful in my comfortability with really any social setting, much less one where I'm on stage being like, hi guys, my coochie stink. My booty hole brown.
Talk about that.
My coochie's pink. No, my coochie stink. Bleep that out. No, it was a joke. It was just when I self-tanned.
It was just that one time.
My pH was imbalanced.
Facts. But no, I do think that live shows would be so fun.
Yeah.
I think that would be a blast.
I think it'd be so fun to travel the country and just like get to know the girlies behind Bleep That Out, get to have like fun conversations with the crowd, meet people, become friends. And then like you guys get to become friends. You guys get to talk about things that you necessarily don't talk about with your friends or your mom or your siblings. And you get to talk about it with us and our community. And
we talk about everything with all of you.
We talk about all of it.
Literally everything.
My coochie stink. My booty hole brown. I think I started last episode with that too. Oh my God.
I think you did.
Why is that in my head today?
We gotta stop talking about the booty hole.
Or the coochie. Okay.
Bleep that out.
Literally. Please bleep that out. I'm dead.
Oh man.
What else
so
is new?
funny? Let's see. We talked about lip oils was that last episode?
Yeah, let's get into some nitty gritties. Do we have anything we want to spill? Do we have anything you want to bleep that out? Bleep that shit out.
I feel like we talk about everything.
Yeah.
That I'm like, I really can't think of anything on the spot. I'm fucking sick and I'm over being sick.
Yeah.
I hate it.
I definitely think it might be allergies.
Yeah. I can't tell.
I get really sick in the winters too here though. I'm not looking forward for it to being winter, you guys. This is going to be brutal.
Do you think it's going to be a good winter or a bad winter? Because I feel like it's going to be a good winter.
All winters are shitty.
I'm going to say it's going to be a good winter.
I think the events and stuff that we have coming up and just like life going busier will be good. I'm not really looking forward to my dad's anniversary. I think that's kind of going to skew me a little bit.
Are you guys going to do anything to celebrate or?
I don't know. My mom asked me that the other day. She's like, what are you going to do for your dad's anniversary? I was like, what do you mean? What do we do? Get a cake?
Right.
Happy 1 year being dead. Bleep that out.
Morbid. Well, I think what you do is just celebrate the memories that he left all of you with. You know what I mean? You're carrying on his legacy, and whether that be to each their own. Like if you're like, I just want to lay in bed all day and write,
it's
in my journal. There's so many things.
It's hard. It's like, how do you go about like that's not a funny anniversary. It's not like your 1 year wedding. It's not like your 1 year of like whatever. I feel like I like to celebrate him on his birthday. That's kind of what we did. But when it comes to the year of, I think that I just get in my head of like, it's already been almost a year. That's a really long time. What are we at? 10 months? Yeah, 10. I just think it's hard. And then it's also really hard because he died. So my 2 younger brothers are literally 2 weeks apart, and my dad died the week between them. So it's like we have one birthday and then another birthday. So it's like we got to be fake happy, sad, fake happy, and then the following week is when we put him in the ground. So it's like it's literally just like bipolar weeks of like.
He is for sure a fucking Leo.
God, he's so annoying.
I think that you'll know the day of. I say don't plan anything because moods shift,
Yeah.
emotions shift. Don't put a pressure around it, because if you put pressure around it, you're gonna let yourself down. That's
Yeah.
always how it goes.
I honestly just try not to get like too in my head about certain
Yeah.
dates. I'm just like, oh, it is what it is. Like, I'm not huge into like even my own anniversary. I'm like, oh, it's our anniversary. We were on a flight to Mexico. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about Raphael's and my anniversary. I just want to get to Mexico. Like, I just want to be in a pool.
On the beach, you know?
You have an anniversary coming up.
Yeah. 2 years, September 19th. So next Tuesday, I think.
Wild. 2 years.
This episode actually won't even be out yet. So yeah, 2 years. Time flies. Like literally, it's like, how in the world has it already been 2 years? I have no idea. And
flies.
Life has been so busy. Life gets so much busier. I literally was thinking that the other day. I'm like, why does the to-do list never end as an adult? Like it just keeps growing.
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
Yeah,
or
like it's
a
just
couple weeks ago.
You just are so busy all the time, but it's like you do have to take a moment and celebrate those successes. Otherwise, no one will. Which hence the purse. Like,
Right.
you have to take those things, because otherwise you just let it pass, and then you look back and you're like, I should have celebrated. I should have been excited of my journey and where I was now and how far I've come. I think we're so focused on getting ahead that we don't look at how far we've come.
Yeah. That's where I go opposite. I'm so like, I'm always just like trying to soak it all in. That's where I spend too much money, because I'm like, let's celebrate. Let's go to dinner. Like, let's do this.
Have you ever done your top 5 strengths, that like personality test? You should. That's so interesting, because I
Really?
did it in business school, and then I did it my last year of nursing school, and I had 2 of them shift. But
Really?
one of my top 5 strengths is futuristic. Like I'm so like
Well, that's
planning.
Capricorn vibes. That's Raphael.
Like I'm very futuristic. There was another one, achievement. Like I focus on like achievements. Like I'm go-getter.
Yeah, you're definitely a goal-oriented person for sure.
So you should do it, because it's actually really, really interesting.
I like chasing goals and like getting there. I more like a dream. Like I love when a dream becomes a reality.
Yeah.
That's so exciting for me. That's so insane to me. I'm always like this is my life. Like that's insane to me.
Yeah.
And I love it every single day. Like I genuinely am so grateful every day when I wake up. I will say that when I take the dogs out and I go outside, or like my first time outside every day, I will literally look up and I'll be like, I'm so grateful for, and I'll like name 1 or 2 things every day.
They say that that's a really good thing to start the day with, because it turns a positive spin.
And every night when we get in bed, I like look at Raphael. I'm like, we're so blessed. And that's it. Like, I don't say anything past that. I'm like, we're so blessed.
Now get me that motherfucking ice cream.
Right. Get the motherfucker ice cream. Bleep that out. Anyways, my birthday's coming up.
I know.
About to be 27.
October 17th.
I know.
27. How does it feel? Do you feel any different?
I'm scared getting older. I don't like getting older. I feel like I love getting older because I love getting more time and life under my belt.
Experiences.
But I get so sad knowing we're 1 year closer to whenever my expiration date is. And I hate that.
I try not to think of that, and I just think like another day, like you said, wake up. I'm glad for another day, because you don't ever know when your last day will be and what age you'll be and any of that. And if we did know, we wouldn't live our life like we want to live our life.
Yeah. But see, I feel like we don't do that.
Right.
And that's what I hate. I just wish, like when I was talking to my mom, and I did that episode where I was asking my mom, so I sat down on my personal podcast and I asked my mom a bunch of questions that I wish I could have asked my dad before he died, because I wanted to ask my mom. Because when you lose a parent, you're like, damn, there were so many unanswered questions. And the reason for doing that and why I publicized it was for people to see, like, what before you lose somebody, take this initiative. Ask the questions. Is there anything unresolved that you want to answer today? Like, if you were to die tomorrow, what's a piece of advice that you want me to know? Anything. Like, what's your favorite memory of me as a kid? I want to share my favorite memory of you. I want to share the shittiest thing that you did to me as a kid. I want to share the best parts that I love about you. Like, and vice versa, and go back and forth. And the whole reason behind that was like, don't wait until it's too late. Don't wait until your dad's dead to ask your mom this stuff. And don't wait until your mom's dead. Like, don't have the regrets, ask it now. And I wish, and my mom was like, I was like, Mom, is there anything that you want to accomplish? And she said something, and I was like, but you have the time to do that. Like, why aren't you doing it? And I feel like it's because people just get so in their head of like, oh, it's fine. It's not coming anytime soon.
I'll get to it.
My dad lived his life like that. Like he kept saying, when I retire. The motherfucker did not retire. Like he retired to a ground. Like
that's that generation.
Congrats.
That generation in specific, because like my dad and mom both say that. Oh, I'll
Yeah.
do it when I retire. And I'm like, but like live for now too, because you just don't ever know. And one of my friends, which to like kind of go off your point, one of my friends from nursing school, love her dearly. Her dad has Alzheimer's. And so she's lost him while he's kind of still alive.
Yeah.
And she said the one thing that she regrets is that she didn't keep like handwritten cards, handwritten stuff, because you don't ever think. You don't ever think that those will be something that you're looking for again.
Take
but she's
pictures.
like, but now he doesn't want to write anything. He's like, I don't want to write a card. Like he can't comprehend it. So those little things, hold on to those. And even if you're like, I'm sticking in a box, it doesn't really matter. You'll be so glad you saved them, because I'm talking to you, talking to her. I'm like, I'm now saving those things, because even though you're just like love mom and dad.
Voicemails.
Oh yeah.
Videos, take the pictures, keep the cards. One of my tattoos is literally my dad's exact handwriting, exact note from him, smiley face, all that. I love it. And it's crazy, but I've always been very sentimental and I hold on to stuff like that. I would much rather hold on to a box of random ass fucking cards than a box of designer clothes. Like I do not care.
Absolutely.
But I do think that's very valid and very important. Take the pictures, take the videos, even if they don't want to be in them. My mom and her husband hates being on camera. He doesn't want to be plastered online. I have an uncle, the one that watches all this. He does not want to be associated online, but I still take the photos. I still have the videos with them. We still take the trips. We still have the memories, and I have them on my phone. I don't need to publicize them. So it doesn't mean that like you have to post anything. Like it's just fun for your own memories. Like I think that's the hardest part for me now is when I watch videos of my dad, he feels alive.
Yeah.
Because I have so many of him that it's like all I'll remember is that. And it's hard, but it's also such a beautiful thing. There's so many people out there that are like, you're so blessed. I don't have a single picture of my dad. I don't have a single video. I don't remember what his voice sounds like. Not even a week, on the flight going to Colorado, my voicemail box was full. I went through and deleted everything. I kept one. The only reason I kept it was from 2020, and it was my dad and I were meeting at the voting stand to go together. And I thought the voicemail was so funny. That is the only reason I kept that single one. 2 days later, he dies. So I'm like, I deleted all that, and there's ways that you can download it to your computer. You can do that kind of stuff. So now I keep not all of them, but I keep the ones from my mom, my grandma. Like I just want to be able to hear their voice back. And why a voicemail is so intimate is like a video when we're out, you're kind of talking to the group, you're talking to the crowd. When my dad called me, he was specifically talking to me. Hey, honey, I just want to let you know I'm here, blah, blah, blah. This is what we got to do, blah, blah. And then he got another call. Okay, got to go, bye. Like it was so my dad and it was so to me.
Yeah.
And when I recorded him like on video, he wasn't like, hey, honey, like he wasn't calling me. It was just like a normal combo.
Yeah. Those personal moments that don't seem like they hold value hold so much value once that person's gone.
Oh, immediately. Are absolutely. So yeah, take the videos, take the pictures, keep the voicemails. Even if you buy a hard drive, invest in like one of those big hard drives. Yeah. Put it onto your laptop, transport it over to the terabyte. Even if you never use it, you never touch it, it doesn't matter. It's just more the memories. I know we just got really like morbid in this combo, but
you know what? This is just girl talk. This is what we would talk about on or off camera, to be honest.
Right.
Plus, a lot of people think that grief is like the stages, but grief is not linear. You go back and forth between the stages.
It's a lifetime.
It's a lifetime. And there's going to be things that trigger you. There's going to be things that you'll see that trigger you out in public.
Yeah.
And your emotions can respond how they want to. That's the hardest part about our emotions is you just respond.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part is a lot of people don't know grief until they've been there.
Right. And the weight of it, I think that's another thing is like people don't realize the weight of it is for a lifetime. It's not like even through therapy, even through the stages, once you're out of the denial and you've accepted, like it's still a heavy weight that is there until the day you die and you meet them at the gates and you're like, missed ya. But it's just interesting. So I don't know. I think that was the gist of it.
I think you've done a great job.
Thanks, Mom.
I got you, girl.
Hopefully next week we'll have chairs. We did order some chairs. They should be here soon. So
oh yeah, you guys are gonna have to wait to see which one you picked. Or do you say which ones you picked?
Well, by the time this comes out, it'll probably
be announced.
It'll probably be announced by then. But yeah, we'll get there. We're gonna do some design videos on TikTok. We're gonna put some art up. We're gonna get this space a little bleeped out. We're gonna bleep this shit out.
We're gonna bleep this shit out for sure.
We're gonna bleep this shit out.
And then we'll have I Think I'm Human Too on that side.
Yeah, that's okay. She's whatever. We don't really like her. Who's Catherine?
We like her. She's all right. Just don't tell her that. Don't tell her that.
She's okay. Anything else that we want to cover today?
Honestly, no. I feel like that was like a really good. We covered a lot with last episode, this episode. I feel like we've covered a lot. Let us know if there's something specific that you guys want. we're obviously very open to talk about really anything.
We're going to keep, we're going to try and start structuring some weeks where it's like we have topics. We've said that previously where I think it would be really fun if we got like a prop every episode. That was your idea of getting like a prop to like opening a questionnaire, being like, what do you guys want to talk about this week? It could be from anything about like Haley and Justin Bieber. It could be about New York Fashion Week. It could be about grief. It can be about relationships. And we'll pick like, we'll put a bunch of different topics in the hat or whatever it is, and we'll grab some out. And then those would be the 4 that we tell stories on, we give advice on, we just chit chat about, we laugh about, we cry about, whatever. So that's kind of the future of Bleep That Out. And that'll also transpire into when we do live shows, we're going to come in with an open mind. We're just going to be on stage. We'll talk to you guys. We'll let you guys kind of run the convos. We love that. We want to do that. And it also helps us never run out of things to talk about because
we can talk.
We can talk.
We can really talk.
We can talk.